Alex Ansary here, coming to you from the RV. That's right, the classic RV here, sitting here off the grid in Colorado. Message to Colorado survivalists, message to the future. I believe that this is the state, this is the place, this is not necessarily the time. But this is a part of America where I agree with Leon's vision to a certain degree. That the area around the Continental Divide, the west side of Colorado, as opposed to Denver, could be a critical part of the resistance when this country is invaded by foreign forces. I felt a calling to Colorado many years ago. I know that I'm the only one for thousands of miles that's warning about a stage manager's World War III scenario. And I know that my warnings are not appreciated. I know that it's viewed as fear-mongering, even though now they talk about World War III on a regular basis. I have talked about the hundreds of people that have contacted me about another county. They're just simply trying to use me for information. They're not really the cream of the crop. The people that are really going to be the future Colorado survivalists is the people that actually get here and not just talk about, talk. It's the people that end up here, either by miracle or otherwise. I think there's going to be pockets of safe areas in Colorado. I don't think that I should constantly be dropping the name of certain counties that I think will be safe. They have their own issues right now. But in the future, in the 2020s, there's certain places that I've already talked about in past videos. I see those areas as being evacuation centers. Whether or not it's sanctioned or not, or allowed or not by the county, people are going to be showing up in their cars, RVs, their trucks to get out of a blast zone. I think the attack from China or Russia is going to come after a big attack by the United States. I see the 2020s as the period. I believe that in 2025, at least by that point, there'll be some major climaxes taking place. I don't want to get more specific. I just see like the mid-2020s and other influences. People don't understand, though, those aspects of my work. So people ignore it. And I'll talk about the sun. I'll do a slideshow presentation for you and I'll have 100 views. I find it unfortunate that people don't know how much I've struggled doing alternative media full time. Okay? And I can't help everybody. I'm not Moses. But I've called some BS. I've called some BS. If there are people out there, let's just get to it. Giddy up. That thing where people hit the back button and the unsubscribe. I'm tired of the white supremacy that's going on and people denying it. Because it's going to alienate your allies. That can be perceived by quite a few as a non-white, just simply because of tan skin. The ignorance amongst your society, right, blows me away. And talking about that's not anti-white, that's psycho. That's pulling that same, if you don't like Obama, you're racist. That's the same pathways of the brain when you play that game. You are just like those folks that say, you're racist if you don't like Obama. If you're saying that there are people that are getting involved in white supremacy. It's documented now. And what it does, it divides those. So if you want to be someone's ally or friend, it's wise, right? To let them know you're not like the others. But to say that there are no others acting like that, right? And to start screaming about this issue or that issue or this psyops, you're not going to make friends that way. The real Colorado survivalists, they're going to be living through this, the people that make it here. Not just people that fantasize about off-grid living for them and theirs and their tribe, but the people that actually put their money where their mouth is. Now, are there going to be other safe areas in America? Probably. I just don't know. And I don't discount a fire coming through here. But a fire coming through a particular area is not necessarily an end-time scenario. Areas do recover from fires. I'm literally thinking about a military invasion by foot and West Coast cities being hit with weapons other than nukes, but weapons that take out the grid, which in and of itself will cause mayhem. Okay, I see Portland, Oregon as an area that's going to be hit hard, and I know I'm only an American, period, that is warned specifically about a human trafficking epidemic that foreign troops may be organizing, working with other cartel groups and other elitists, trafficking white women out of the country. Meanwhile, I'm the subject of racist attacks. Meanwhile, trolls want me to endorse their current white genocide narratives when I'm warning about a future white genocide from a different threat. And they won't give me credit for that. They won't go, Alex, well, actually, Alex is talking about this issue that could happen. He's not such a bad guy. They're not able to actually give me credit for what I'm warning about. They want me to feel guilty or or defensive about some psyops or issue or article coming out now. They want to control my thoughts. See? They don't appreciate my independence. And they don't appreciate how I'm warning about aspects of a future white genocide. They want to crap on that and pretend it doesn't exist. Okay? That's spitting in my face. Don't act like it's not an issue. Oh, it's a big issue. I've been rejected by a whole society called Portland, Oregon because I warned about World War III. And that there'll be a kidnapping organization that will be plucking white women specifically. But it doesn't matter that I've tried to help you and warn you. All of you on the West Coast. There are people that want to throw me spite, troll, obsessed with their consciousness. That's some weird supernatural. Why obsess? I've put out information. The only person, I'm not trying to make it happen with my mind. Powerful warlock, law of attraction, Alex Ansary, suspicious Starkey. Okay? I haven't been given credit by this society. And I literally feel like the events already happened. And I have to keep coming back to you time and time again. I'm warning you. I'm warning you, white America. There's a plan for you. And they're going to use white supremacy against you. They're coming for your daughters. There's a plan. And I have literally maintained my warning to you over a decade. Society's rejected me. My mother's rejected me. My father and his family, all of them have rejected me. And all of Portland's rejected me. And yet I keep coming to you over and over and over. People wonder why I live off the grid, why I don't work amongst your malls, why I don't drive your taxis, why I don't work at your McDonald's. You wonder why I'm doing this and I'm not out there. It's because I'm passionate about warning you. I believe that you need to be warned. I believe these events are in motion. I believe they have you in the crosshairs. I believe they're running surveillance. I even believe they're collecting surveillance on some of you that voted Trump. And see, you guys are so busy telling me that I'm not a real independent voter, that I'm a libtard. That you don't even understand that I'm warning you. There's a larger plan for America down the line after Trump. So it's like spiritual warfare. It's like arguing with demons. And you're not old demons, but a lot of the people watching this channel are. And a lot of them aren't Americans. Some of the trolls are going to be part of the invasion scenario. And they're watching the one guy who has an interest in warning Americans. And they're sitting there with anger. Because this is not the dialogue that they want. They want the cry wolf Islamic invasion meme. Kill them all. Destroy the Middle East. And blame America on it. So they can come in. So they can play a part in the racism, kill them all, kill all the Afghans, kill all the Iraqis, and they can be blogging from Russia or Israel or other places. But they want America to take the blame for the genocide. Maybe the UN will come around in a few years and they'll talk about all these horrible things the US did in the Middle East. But what about Russia? What about China and their interests? Will they help fund the United... What if China never agreed to help fund US invasions in Iraq and Afghanistan? Would there be as many Afghans or Iraqis dead? So how are the Chinese outside of this system, which is less about white supremacy, more about kill them all? People from that part of the world. Which is why people need to understand it's not really about white supremacy. They just use white supremacy to bring in the real white genocide that's coming later, right? And it's the sexual slavery. In the end, right, you haters are going to be looking back in 5 years and 10 years. And you're going to remember that Alex Ansary was the only guy in the independent media that warned about the white sexual slavery that's coming when you were busy attacking him for not getting behind the white genocide narrative and the kill of the Muslims narrative. That's satanic. And a lot of those people that are in those satanic demonic energies now, they're bringing bad luck to them. They're not heeding my advice about being a better person in order to prepare for the things that are coming tomorrow. Some of them are bringing danger to their female relatives that may be living near them when the karmic blowback comes to this nation. That makes those men threat to those women. If they're bringing bad energy to the household. There's a lot of bad men and women out there. They're creating really bad karma and energy. They don't realize that the beast within them has been activated. And a lot of people have changed in the last 1 to 2 years. I've watched it with internet personalities. I've watched it as people developed online obsessions with others. The progression of where this obsession goes is bloody. It is something that I don't really want to further articulate. It's something that you're going to see happening to others. Some of you are going to witness the transformation towards the monster from within. As you lose it and you break and certain behaviors, explosive behaviors, manifest in the next few years. Let's get back to the larger picture. There's a lot of reason why people are going to need to be underground in the 2020s. And it's not just the invasion scenario, it's going to be those violent killing sprees that a lot of Americans will be in. There's going to be probably bandits of white supremacists. They're going to be going, looking for various people. There could be other groups going after various people. I've already mentioned for a decade is the only person in the independent media that's ever given you the warning that the West Coast is likely to have a human trafficking operation with back and forth between cartels coming from the south and the invading Chinese Russians. The invading Chinese Russians, China predominantly on the West Coast, Russian predominantly on the East Coast, but working with other groups, other elite forces that will have an interest in the white sex slavery. Again, using cell phones that may be deactivated after the EMP. But those women that have used those cell phones to replace men, right, with their supposed feminism, those tracking devices, out of habit, they'll keep looking at them, they'll keep praying that their cell phones come back, and their cell phones will only be there to be a tracking device. Some of them will already be marked by their bloodline or some other information about them. And it seems that it's not an accident that we have a DNA database. And it seems that Rh negatives or others like that are believed to have special abilities or different, they could be a target. After this World War III scenario, look towards these Mars missions or what could be going on concurrent. But it does seem like it's after the World War III scenario that we're looking at transhumanism and we're looking at a new world government, perhaps between China, Russia, and the United States. The question is whether they're going to get their goal of putting the capstone on the pyramid, so to speak, or whether God, if you will, the solar flares, climate change, however you interpret all these things, right? The grid going down from massive solar flare, we could see a reset from what's happening with the sun. Now imagine future off-grid communities or areas that are away from the West Coast, away from the East Coast. Again, I'm thinking areas in Colorado, areas in Wyoming, maybe areas in Montana. You know, I'm not so fond of Arizona. I think there's going to be a big California refugee overflow. And aren't we already seeing the American refugee experience? First with economic fallout, homelessness, and a war on off-the-grid living, people living in a Walmart parking lot, but now an actual natural disaster, pushing many people, even people with homes, into the homelessness experience by force. You see, that's already begun. So, yeah, I think it's very possible we could see a massive depopulation situation when the power plants go in these areas, especially the East Coast. Think about those people on the East Coast, especially the Northeast. They're the most at risk than anyone, period. But down here in California, we're looking at two, power plants that are in the path of Irma. Remember Leon Legant's warning. And if you haven't seen that video, Man Warns of Chinese-Russian Invasion, all the way back on my video in 2008, watch it. Why watch this video and not watch my most important material and warnings? Makes no sense. What did he say? He said the natural disasters would come first before the invasion. He said people would be glued to their TV sets. He talked about people coming together in Colorado. He talked about the advancing, invading armies, taking many territories on the West Coast, but areas, strong men and their daughters, fighting the invading forces, and the continental divide of the United States being a focal point for the resistance. Okay. Tell me who other in the alternative media is bringing you this information, this perspective. That this is not so far outside the realm of possibility. That maybe there really is a reason why the government, and even, their observations of the sun, so much of it takes place in Colorado. And people, have rumored about Denver International Airport. People have rumored about other areas. I don't think it's going to be anywhere near Denver, but I think that just the general half of state, this section of it, the left half of the state of Colorado, the west side, has a lot of promise. I'm not sold on Utah. I'm not sold on the desert in California or the desert in Arizona. I think New Mexico is a very corrupt place with regards to police. It seems to me that there's not really a lot of other places to go that are safe in America. Study the dense population map of the United States and look at those areas that are most lit up and look at where they are. And then look at the nuclear power plant proximity to those places. And then look at those darker areas. The darker areas are the areas where there's less people. Less people, less looting, less people trying to kick in your door when they don't have theirs, when the you know what hits the fan. So yeah, I might consider making future videos to future Colorado survivalists, because I think there are friends that I haven't met yet. And I think that, you know, for those that will take the time to watch my videos, there's good reason for me to use precaution now with so much racial and political supremacy. Now is obviously not a time where there's a lot of friendly people in the state of Colorado or elsewhere in this nation, as evident in, you know, a lot of what I see in the comment section. I've got my fingers crossed, folks, that some of you will do your research, see that some of the information that I've put out there is relevant, and that by 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, I'm actually hoping to see some Colorado brotherly and sisterly love. Now is not that time. Let's see what happens in the next few years as my warnings come to fruition.